One of the cards I've had the most fun playing with out of Obsidian Flames is the new Glimmora EX. And today we'll be playing Glimmora alongside Palkia VSTAR, which is sort of an unlikely combo. And one of the most frequently asked questions I got on stream yesterday was, why are you playing these two cards together? And the reason is Palkia gives Glimmora a backup attacker that it really needs, because the biggest issue with Glimmora is it has a pretty poor damage output and needs something else to support it. And also, in my previous video, I was playing it with Urshifu, and Radiant Greninja helps us fill that void of the early bench control, and also gives us a consistency boost, because this deck is kind of a clunky deck. So I have one battle here. I had a ton of fun playing this deck, so if you want to see a ton more gameplay than just this one match, then I will have my stream linked in the description below, and please enjoy the battle. Alright, so we're taking Glimmora onto the ladder. Not super high up. Everyone's playing Charizard right now, so hopefully we'll get a game against Charizard, so I can at least capture how that matchup is. Because if you're watching my stream yesterday, I was having some struggles for sure. But hopefully we'll get to at least show that off today, because it's a very weird matchup, and we have to be very aggressive very quickly, and there's not too much margin for error for us, just because by the time things get to the late game, our opponent is one-shotting everything we have, and we're only ever two-shotting them. So our opponent is going to be able to go first, which is not very good for us. As pretty much any evolving deck wants to always be going first, and we have this hand as a lot of Pokemon, but not a lot of supporters. We're pretty much going to be okay. We're against Lost City LOR, which does not really like having no bench. Unfortunately, I sort of have to Squawkabilly, which is not very good for us. We just don't want to have to Squawkabilly ever, but we have to sometimes. Squawkabilly is one of those cards in an ideal world you never have to play. Interesting, my opponent's going to choose a hard retreat over concealed cards. That's kind of a tell that their hand maybe isn't super good. They're flower selecting. The lightning means it's probably some sort of turbo build, which I think that Giratina is going to be the most hostile build for us, just because they are able to one-shot us. They actually choose to Lost Zone the Dragonite, which means they do not have... they really don't want to be attacking with Raikou. Alright, I'm going to get Squawk. Radiant Greninja is prized this time. Tragic. Glimmet. I probably should have checked to see how many Glimmoras were prized. That would have been very important. We have the other two in deck. I don't think I want to grab anything else with this other Battle VIP Pass. We'll just rip it with the Squawk and Seize. Okay, fortunately for us, we didn't draw into. We can get Radiant Greninja down. Oh, we double Glimmet prize too. These prizes are atrocious. And a couple water energies. Things are pretty rough for us this game. I am going to use concealed cards just so we always get that water energy down. Oh, I'm so nervous now, because I guess no, we're fine. We use Iono and put this to the bottom. Putting the two supporters down at the bottom of the deck is pretty bad when you draw into a hand like this. But at least drawing into the Glimmora meant we weren't in potential... Like, if we didn't draw into the Glimmora and we play the Iono, there's always a chance we draw into double Glimmora and Ascension fails. But we managed to use the Ascension this turn. Our opponent is bench locked, which means they have no attacker that they can use. They'll have to play an escape rope just to even really attack this turn. I suppose they can use Moonlight Shuriken and maybe set the Squawkabilly for a Lost Mine knockout, but they can't use Cramorant or anything like that. This ability is just so annoying. I'm gonna keep messing around with this Glimmora because Duskfield is so good. I just think finding the right home is gonna be the hardest part. The reason I'm pairing it with Palkia is Palkia gives you a solid secondary attacker that can threaten one-shots. It means you have access to Radiant Greninja, which gives you bench control. But the issue with Palkia is it cannot reach one shot in Pokemon EX, like the big Stage 2 EXs. So I think that the optimal Glimmora partner is going to be something that can threaten those one shots in EXs. Maybe I've seen some people messing around with the Soul Rock and Lunatone and then Path to the Peak. I still think that's still, you're just sort of hoping that Path plus Bench Lock is enough to beat your opponent, which definitely will sometimes. I'm just really afraid that if your opponent can work through that, they're just going to be able to beat you without that much difficulty. I'm kind of concerned this is a Kyogre build, seeing that there's a Pokestop, and Kyogre could just feast on our Squawkabilly. Them having to get rid of the Manaphy is nice. I had to hard retreat twice off basic energies. It is definitely very unlikely that they attack this turn. I guess if they just have like a rope and Kramer, that's what they'll be looking for. There's 6, and there's a vacuum, so they'll get to 8. Having 2 lost on a claw is big. They lost on a rope. Maybe they just like rope and then gate and attack us this turn. Let's see. Nope, they just pass on over to us. So I'd love to be able to Iono again because their hand. Oh yes, there we go. So I'm then gonna. Maybe I should have concealed cards before the energy drop, because if I can Moonlight Shuriken take out both Comfies and Iono them back, that would have been amazing. But we did not find Palkia, so I think that's okay. But I did still want to get that water energy down. Do I want a Lost City? I don't think we do, because then they are able to use Lost Mine without too much difficulty next turn. I'm gonna get the other Glimmora so we don't get that Glimmet eaten up, and then we'll just use the gem for the knockout. I'm still gonna keep Lost City around because next turn I still might want to Lost Zone whatever they end up attacking with. It will be very interesting to see where this goes from here, considering my opponent's already lost in that Dragonite, which is like their big one-hit attacker. I know it can't one-hit Glimmora, but it gets pretty darn close. Enough so that Lost Mine can sort of bridge the gap. Moonlight Shuriken, conceal cards out of water. Lots of energies down. So they're going to have to recover some of those if they want a Mirage Gate. And they drew pretty well off of our Iono. And they're up to 10 as well. So, and they didn't even use Flower Selecting yet. There's a Nest Ball. We'll probably be getting whatever they plan to attack with. Whether that be... will there probably be a Cramorant? Yeah, there's a Cram. So if they attack with Cramorant, I definitely want a Lost City and send that to the Lost Zone, because they're probably only playing 1 Cramorant. And once they get in excess of 10, it really doesn't matter at that point. It's just trying to make it as hard for them to take all 6 of their prizes. Flower Selecting, Boss's Orders leaving is definitely good for us, because these things they can hit for Lightning Weakness, and then they also can get around the Dust Field that way too. They're going to need some sort of switching option to get into the Cramorants. Honestly, Escape Rope would be pretty tough for us, because we'd probably go into the other Glimmora. Oh my goodness, that was an insane Pokestop. But I wouldn't be super happy with that, because the Glimmora could very well be stuck. I'm definitely playing this Lost City to get rid of the Pokestop. Pokestop is just such an insane card for Lost Box decks. Okay, I guess they're making that decision for me. This is their only Comfy. They have 1 down. If we get lost in this, they'll just have 1 Comfy for the rest of the game. That would be kind of tricky for them. They even have the retreat option. Or are they just stuck? They haven't even used that many switching cards yet, right? Yeah, only 1 card. I think they lost on 1 rope. Yeah. They should have a ton of switching cards. And they can just hard retreat if all else fails. But missing a switch would be incredibly weird. Unless they just prize a ton of them. Attached to Sableye. Okay, they were just figuring out whether they wanted a Cramorant or Sableye. I think Sableye definitely is the better play. Because like if you had Dragonite, you go like 2, 2, and 8. And set up Squawk for maybe a Moonlight Shuriken. You set up these guys to get knocked out with Dragonite. Throw some energies back into the deck. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna load up the Radiant Greninja. Would sort of love the top deck Boss's Orders so we could go banish this Radiant Greninja to the Lost Zone. Maybe this Ultra Ball gets us Lumineon and lets us find Boss's Orders. I think that probably will be our play for next turn. I assume my opponent will... May they put 7 and 4. And... yeah, definitely gonna put at least 7 on the Squawk. 2 there. They play second Dragonite then. I assume that they do then if they're putting 2 on both the Glimmoras. Which is not something you usually see. Oh, we just top deck Boss. What a busted deck. Alright. We'll just do this. And that totally ruins their plan. And the Radiant Greninja is gone for the rest of the game, which will make it harder for them to bounce back off these Ionas. I guess we only have 1 Iono left. But anyway, their draw engine is... they only have 3 Comfies, and then... or they've already got rid of 3 Comfies, and the Radiant Greninja is gone. It's going to be a tough game for them to close that. Sableye definitely takes both of these Squawkabillies. Oh, maybe they're pinging the damage on here for Kyogre. I guess it probably is then. We just give them the Radiant Greninja. I don't necessarily mind them being able to fill up their bench, because what are they going to fill it with? With all their Comfies being gone and the Radiant Greninja being gone. I'd rather just have something that's easier to move than this Glimmora that is very easily stuck. So I'm assuming this is going to be 9, and then probably 3 on the Palkia. So then they're able to set that up into Kyogre range. So they could definitely win with... Okay, no, they're not. They're putting some on the Radiant Greninja, which doesn't really help their prize map. Taking this one prize here. I guess Radiant... Wait, we just actually go for a Moonlight Shuriken this turn. Okay. This is good for us. That's like pretty much all their Comfies gone. We just need to find an energy on the other side of this research. Not benching the Glimmet because it's too easy of a prize for them. Found an energy. So we just do this. And then we use conceal cards. We have a big juicy star portal and we're able to take 2 prizes. We still have to be... Are we even that concerned about Kyogre at this point? Let's thin the nest ball. Let's drop an energy search just to thin that out. I don't even know if we're even concerned about Kyogre at this point. I don't think we are. There's a star portal, and we will go boom, boom, boom. Then we have Moonlight Shuriken for 2 prizes. And that'll be very hard for everyone to come back from. I'm not going to say it's impossible, because they pretty much just need 1 turn to be able to Kyogre and win the game. But they'll only have 1 Comfy, which is currently in the discard pile. And they won't have Radiant Greninja. They still have an 11 card deck. I'm not saying it's impossible, because it's definitely not. Because they can chorus the next 2 turns and still get down to 0. I'd love to be able to Iono. I think Iono would really break their back at this point. Just look at this Lost Zone. It's full of all their good cards. I guess I did lost a chorus though. So I only have 1 chorus left. This is a very interesting game. We could rope next turn also to get rid of the Sableye. I don't know if that matters a whole lot. I think they want to Lost Mine this turn, at least to set up this Palkia to be able to be knocked out with Kyogre. But I don't know how they get to the bottom of the deck now without the 4th chorus. They really have to chorus this turn. Or I don't think they can get down to 0. Yeah, they just scoop, so there we go. Glimmora definitely proving we got the Radiant Greninja package, and we got to really show off that the dust field really made it hard for them to do what they wanted to do. So here is the full list here. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and if you want to see a ton more Glimmora games, then click this video here. Thank you for watching.